Hi, I'm Jay Mitchell, Sioux Empire Market President at First Interstate Bank, where we proudly put communities first by supporting Feeding South Dakota's mission to end hunger. Hunger affects every corner of our state, and our team is committed to being part of the solution, whether that's by volunteering or using our resources to make a lasting impact. This September, in celebration of Hunger Action Month, we encourage you to join the fight against hunger with a donation, and we'll double the impact with a match. Let's build stronger communities together. Go to feedingsouthdakota.org and make a gift today, because no one should go hungry.
I've had the good fortune of traveling to communities across the state since I've been with Feeding South Dakota, just to talk to our community partners or visit with people who are in line at our food distributions. And we have several partners who receive the wild game through Sportsmen Against Hunger, and they love it.
Yes.
They talk a lot about how people grew up on wild game, right? Like your parents or your dad or your uncles would go out hunting and they would process it at home. And there's just nothing like that. I mean, ground beef is a hot commodity, but almost that wild game is a rarity to people who face hunger.
Yeah.
And so when they can get that pheasant or that goose or that fish through that process, it's just so much better.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so it's fun to be able to say, we want to make sure we get food out to people, but it's really awesome to be able to say, and we're getting some really incredible food out to people.
Yeah, it's unique to have it. I wish we could do more because it goes fast. 100,000 pounds, we could get rid of 400,000 pounds.
Sure.
Sure. I wish we had more access to more wildlife that we could do that with, but it's a limited resource.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Feeding South Dakota. We're in the fall season and we're coming to you from our Rapid City Distribution Center today with some really great conversation about a unique way that anybody who likes the outdoors, enjoys hunting or fishing can be involved with Feeding South Dakota and help provide great sources of protein to our neighbors facing hunger. So without further ado, Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Jeff Olson from Rapid City, and I'm president of the South Dakota Sportsmen Against Hunger program.
South Dakota Sportsmen Against Hunger. I love it. Tell us, what does that mean?
Well, it's a program brought together. It's kind of a long story. We stole from another program, a nationwide story that Safari Club International had called Sportsmen Against Hunger, where you could take your processed game and donate parts of it. You had to pay all the processing, like, okay, donate this to a food bank.
Okay.
And we morphed to where we pay all the processing now for sportsmen for wild game. Originally they could go shoot an extra doe if they didn't want a doe. We wanted them to donate, and then we pay to process that burger. And then it goes to needy families in South Dakota, all the pantries across our state.
So one thing I want to clarify from the beginning, because we do get a lot of questions about this in the fall, is that if somebody has product in their freezer right now that they process themselves, Feeding South Dakota cannot take that as a donation because there's an inspection process that as a food bank, we have to follow. And so if you're like, oh my gosh, we're not going to eat all this venison, I'm going to give it to Feeding South Dakota. While we would love to take it, we are prohibited from that. Sportsmen Against Hunger, South Dakota Sportsmen Against Hunger is different because that animal is taken to a designated processor. It goes through the inspection process Feeding South Dakota needs.
Yes.
And then arrangements are made to get it from the processor directly to us. So it's never in somebody's home freezer before it comes to us. And that's why the program works for us as a food bank. So I just want to clarify that in case somebody's like, I'm going to go check what I got in my freezer.
Well, we take that.
You do.
Feeding South Dakota does not.
Right.
So Sportsmen Against Hunger, we have Clean Out Your Freezer food drives where we'll take home processed stuff and we find pantries that will take it.
Right.
And Feeding South Dakota is not in that chain.
Yes.
So it's pretty awesome too. Some stuff's not good. Some stuff we throw away, but we'll take any protein we can get, any frozen food item. And food, obviously Feeding South Dakota has to take a commercially processed product. We'll take other products too. And oftentimes when we do our food drives, people show up with commercially processed stuff that you can take here if it's less than a year old, I believe is the policy here. But we never turn any frozen food item in. We take frozen bread on our food drives too. So it isn't just venison. I mean, we have elk, deer, pheasants. Goose is a huge part of our program now. Walleyes, any frozen food item that we can get into the needy families in South Dakota.
And over 1 million pounds of food has been given to families facing hunger across the state through Sportsmen Against Hunger. And to clarify, that hasn't all been through Feeding South Dakota. We have a good partnership, but there are food pantries that can take that food drive food. That's a lot of food. How many years has it been?
So we founded the program, me and Dr. Tom Krafke, in 1991.
Okay.
And we started with like 3 or 4 processors here in Rapid City. Gene Stanley was running the food bank. This was before Feeding South Dakota.
Well, you know,
that's how old I am.
It's our 50th year, so it's okay. We're diving into history.
Yeah. So then Matt Gasson kind of took over and we became partners. And one of our biggest partners, which really, you know, we were getting maybe 12, 14,000 pounds a year just locally. We wanted to go statewide. We partnered with Game Fish and Parks because there was at one point, there was a very overabundance of deer. And sportsmen could go shoot 8, 9, or 10 deer, but they weren't going to eat that many.
No.
So our best year, we had 100,000 pounds of burger collected in 1 year. This last year was like 1,300, 1,400.
There's been a little bit of a change.
Yeah. So there's been quite a big change, but we've morphed in one of our big food sources are city deer.
Oh.
So in Rapid City, they cull 200 to 250 deer a year. All those come, and that meat comes right to the food bank, commercially processed, comes straight here, and you guys distribute that. And I think that, you know, that's tune of 6,000 to 10,000 pounds a year just from deer in Rapid City. That sharpshooters aren't doing it, but we have so many ways you can give. You know, and city deer has been one of our blessings since more deer in town than they're out in the farms. You know, so
and you know, I've had the good fortune of traveling, you know, to communities across the state since I've been with Feeding South Dakota, just to talk to our community partners or visit with people who are in line at our food distributions. And we have several partners who receive the wild game through Sportsmen Against Hunger, and they love it.
Yes.
You know, they talk a lot about how people grew up on wild game, right? Like your parents or your dad or your uncles would go out hunting and they would process it at home, and there's just nothing like that. I mean, you know, ground beef is a hot commodity, but almost that wild game is a rarity to people who face hunger.
Yeah.
And so when they can get that pheasant or that goose or that fish through that process, it's just so much better.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so it's fun to be able to say, you know, we want to make sure we get food out to people, but it's really awesome to be able to say, and we're getting some really incredible food out to people.
Cool. It's unique to have it. I wish we could do more because it goes fast.
Yeah.
I mean, 100,000 pounds, we could get rid of 400,000 pounds.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I wish we had more access to more wildlife that we could do that with, but it's, you know, it's a limited resource.
Sure. And I mean, we have a very popular state to hunt in.
Oh, yes.
You know, people come to South Dakota, and we were talking a little bit before we started recording about how, you know, there were these excess tags, and now it's almost like difficult to get a tag. And when you get that tag, you keep that for yourself.
Right.
And so that has shifted the program a little bit. What do you think as you look at where you're at today and the importance of the program? What do you hope for the future of the program?
Well, we always want more poundage, and and funding is an issue.
Yeah,
I think both our agencies have lost funding this year, and we won't go into the politics of that. But you know, just the sportsman being aware that, you know, you can donate half your deer. You know, there's so many ways you can donate. It isn't just bringing your wild game to a processor where we pay the processing. It doesn't cost you anything. You fill out a processing card and leave it there, and you're done with the process. But it's also when we need donations, cash donations.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah, you got to pay for that. And we're paying a processor $85 per deer. And that's a discount for most of them.
I was going to say that seems reasonable.
Yeah, the processors are great. I mean, they're a huge part of our program, and we thank them. But also, when you buy your licenses on the Game Fish webpage, there's a checkoff system where you can donate to Sports Against Hunger. So not only are we encouraging sportsmen to donate their wildlife that they're not going to eat, or maybe don't, you know, like I said, back in the day, you could have 10 tags and I don't know you're going to eat that many. And that's when our program was doing really well. But still try to donate something if you can. But also on the cash end of it, when you're buying your general hunting license and your tags, you know, donate $1 Sportsman's Hunger, because that's really what funds our program. $1.
And that is your greatest revenue source.
It's our number one source that helps pay the processors, is that hunter donation on the checkoff system on the Game Fish webpage. There's like 3 other choices now. We used to be the only one.
Ah.
So unfortunately, those numbers are down too. But Sportsmen Against Hunger, we really rely on that. And you do it more than once, like, so the only thing we have left this fall coming up is to buy preference points.
Okay.
So that opens up next week to get your preference point system. This is middle of September, by the way. I know you're going to hear this in October, but when you buy your preference points, donate $1. Every time you go to that web page and do something, we can encourage you to donate Sportsman's Hunger. That's a big help to our program.
So when we first started talking, you said started here in Rapid City.
Yep.
And you were donating to the food bank here before it was Feeding South Dakota, but you had this desire to go statewide.
Yeah.
And that's what you are now.
Yes.
There are processors across the state.
Correct.
And what about the hunter contributions? Does that come from one specific area, or how do you the people giving the game?
Currently, it looks like this fall we'll have like maybe 22 processors online.
Okay.
So if you want to donate, you go to our webpage, you find where the closest processor is, or you call our 1-800 number, which turns to me, and you can call. So yeah, we have processors throughout the state. There's a few blank spots. You might have to drive an hour, but yeah, at one point we had 55 processors in South Dakota. So you didn't, you could find one really close and you had choices. Now we're still fairly evenly distributed. There's 4 in Rapid City now, and that's been an issue too with COVID.
Yes.
A lot of those processors closed down. So
because the workforce, or then the ones that are left are really full, like really busy.
And they just, you can't, you take your deer there and they're full. We're getting 2 new ones in this area.
Okay,
so
good.
I think it's starting to come back. So just go to our website, feedtheneedsd.com, or you even just hit South Dakota Sportsmen Against Hunger. It'll come up too. It shows you the contact information, what processor, and where to go.
Because in order for this to be done through Sportsmen Against Hunger, it has to be through that approved processor.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I mean, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
One, if I'm a hunter and I've never done this before, what condition am I bringing my wild game to the processor? The same as I would for my own processing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, every process is a little different. Some will accept deboned meat. Mainly, you just shoot your deer, clean it very well. I mean, and take it to the processor. There's a processing form. You fill out their certificate form, you leave. That's it.
Okay.
No money, changes hands. Some processors do charge a little extra. And another thing we're not allowed to pay for bucks.
Okay.
So if it's a horned animal, you have to donate the processing fee. And that's a long story too with federal dollars.
But it's good to know.
Yeah. So, and we do get a lot of hunters who do that. That'll donate $1 and pay the processing. And that's really a big bonus to our program.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you basically, let's say you have a deer and you want to donate it. Go to the webpage, find out your closest participating processor, take it in, you fill out a certificate, and you go. And then that processor turns the certificates into us and we pay them.
Okay. So now what if I am a hunter and I have been going to the same processor for years, but they're not on the list and I think they should be?
Yeah. Call me.
I'm
love
thinking,
that one.
you know what? I think my processor, who I know because I've been taking my wild game there for 30 years, would love to be a part of this.
Well, that's what I'm doing now in the next few weeks is calling processors, some people that aren't in line anymore, going down the list. There's some brand new ones that we have some really great ones that have been with us forever. Right. And they kind of going out of business, but there's a lot of reasons why processors don't want to participate.
Sure.
And I guess one of them is you're not bringing a very good clean deer. You're bringing one that's pretty shot up in bad shape. And that's where you're bringing it because you don't want to eat it. Well, we like healthy venison brought in too.
So be a responsible hunter when bringing that.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Okay, so you've tossed it out there, but again, if somebody wants to learn more, they should go to
feedtheneedsd.com.
Okay.
That's our website, or you can just Google Black Hills or South Dakota Sportsmen Against Hunger, and that page it's a very good web page. It has all your questions right there answered. You just have to search.
I think this is just such a great topic. I would guess that a majority of our hunters in the state are aware of the program, but for those who aren't, it's just another way. There's so many ways you can support hunger in South Dakota and fighting hunger in South Dakota. And there really is a place for everybody. There's something you can do. And if you enjoy being outdoors, if you enjoy that hunt or that fishing, this is just a great way to give a little bit of something you've done and have a passion for back to help people.
100%. I mean, 1 pound of burger can feed a family of 4.
Yep.
I mean, I use that one a lot. But and of course, when we started this program through the Black Hill Sportsmen's Club, I had no idea
Mm.
the amount of hunger that
Mhm.
that is in our community.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, okay, we need to give
Sure.
something back as sportsmen. And then also there was way too many deer, and we need to harvest more deer. So it was a win-win in that
Love a
situation.
win-win.
Yeah, with Game and Fish was happy, and we're feeding needy
Mhm.
people, and sportsmen were looking,
Yeah.
and it's time. It's always time to give back. But yeah, I just can't believe that burger. I mean, we could have 1,000 pounds here today and be gone tomorrow. You
Mhm.
know how that goes, and
Mhm.
think how many families that feed.
Yeah.
So wildlife is a great
It
resource for
is.
hungry people.
It is. And it's a good it's just a good type of food product to put in front of families,
Yeah.
and maybe to encourage hunting in
Yeah.
the future, or to encourage the
Yeah.
sport, because when you are able to incorporate that to your kids at a young
Yeah.
age, it's a lot easier than
100%.
say somebody my age who's never really had that type of
Yeah.
food and is a little hesitant, right? So
Yeah, and it's healthy.
it is
This is healthy protein.
healthy
I mean, you
protein.
can't get much healthier
And
for
that
the
is such
protein.
an important
Yes.
component to diets
Yeah.
for so many reasons. So,
Absolutely.
well, thank you for being here with us
Oh,
today.
thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
sharing this.
Thank you so
I
much.
hope it drives some more interest in the program, that supports not just Feeding South Dakota, but
Yep.
communities across the state. Thank you for joining us. And if you are an outdoorsman, or you know somebody who likes to get out there and hunt, be sure to share about this program with them. Reach out to Jeff, reach out through that website, learn more, and help us help more families who need to put food on their plate. We'll see you for the next episode of 50 Faces of Feeding South Dakota.